The Temple Beneath the Rain Part 1. Chapter 1, The Temple Wakes. Rain hadn't touched the jungle for weeks. But today, it poured like the gods were trying to wash the past off the bones of the earth. Anikar pushed through vines as thick as his forearm, soaked to the skin, boots sloshing through rising water. His satchel was caked with mud, and his machete was dull from too many roots and not enough sharpening. But he didn't care. Because something was calling him. And now, at the edge of a ravine half swallowed by mist and monsoon, he finally saw it. A temple. Half buried. Forgotten. Built into the side of a cliff like it had grown there instead of being carved. Massive stone faces stared down at him through moss and centuries, their mouths open in silent warning, or welcome. Well, he muttered, rain dripping off his brow, either I just found the rain stone, or I'm about to die in the prettiest place possible. He smiled. Then climbed down. Inside, the air was warm and thick. The rain vanished behind him, replaced by the scent of old dust and wet stone. His lantern flickered across walls carved with spirals, half erased by time. He paused. Those spirals weren't just decoration. They were writing. And it looked almost fresh. This place shouldn't be breathing, he said under his breath. And yet here we are. His boot hit a loose tile. It sank with a faint click. He froze. Nothing happened. Then everything did. The stone door behind him slammed shut. The lantern blew out. And across the far wall, a deep red glow lit up like fire behind bone. A voice, soft, female, whispered through the dark. Not in his language. But somehow, he understood it. You brought the rain, it said. And with it, the curse. Chapter 2, The Girl in the Ritual Chamber. The red glow pulsed like a heartbeat. Anikar moved slowly, keeping one hand on his machete and the other on the damp stone wall as he stepped deeper into the temple. The air was heavier now, humming with some kind of tension, like it had been holding its breath for centuries. Then he saw it. A vast ritual chamber opened before him, circular, smooth, and lit by glowing lines etched into the floor. The spirals were everywhere, carved deep into obsidian-colored tiles, and at their center. Someone stood inside the largest one. A girl. She wasn't moving. Not breathing. Not alive. At least, that's what he told himself as he stepped closer. She hovered a few inches above the floor, her bare feet untouched by dust or decay. Her arms were crossed over her chest, skin pale and perfect, wrapped in silver ceremonial silk. Her hair floated like she was underwater, and a jagged, glowing sigil was seared into her collarbone. The rain stone sat just beneath her, embedded in the floor. Rough, jagged, and glowing from the inside out. Anikar's throat tightened. That's it, he breathed. The rain stone. That's real. He stepped forward. The moment his boot crossed the outer spiral, the chamber lit up. The carvings across the floor burst into full red glow, heat pulsing up his legs, and the girl. She breathed in. Fast. Sharp. Like she'd been drowning. Her eyes flew open, deep gold, like sunlight trapped in a bottle. And without hesitation, she lunged at him. She moved like someone trained to kill. Her body blurred into motion, silk whipping like blades as she drove a hand toward his throat. He ducked. She landed in a crouch, pivoted, and swept his legs out from under him with terrifying precision. His back hit the floor hard. The stone burned. She was over him in a second. Fingers wrapped around his collar, her knee pressing into his chest. Her voice was low. Furious. What did you touch? She hissed. What did you take? Nothing, yet, he gasped. I was just looking. Her eyes darted to the rain stone behind him. Her expression collapsed into horror. You touched it, she whispered. You touched the rain stone. Well, yeah. Little bit. The chamber began to tremble. Dust fell from the ceiling. The rain stone cracked. A sharp sound like thunder screamed through the air, and the spirals on the wall began to change, twisting, warping, moving on their own. The girl looked around, breath shaking. You don't understand, she said. You didn't just wake me. You woke it. What's it? Anikar asked, still flat on his back. She looked at him. Her golden eyes were ancient. Sad. Terrified. The curse. The chamber split. A crack tore down the center of the floor. The rain stone exploded upward with a shockwave that hurled them both against opposite walls. Anikar rolled to his feet. His head throbbed. The girl, Soriya, though he didn't know that yet, was already up again, her hands glowing faintly with the same red light. A stone beam shattered overhead. Move, she shouted. He didn't argue. They ran. Together, they sprinted through the collapsing tunnel. The red spirals on the walls lit up one after another like falling dominoes, and behind them, something slithered out of the crack in the floor. Something big. And not quite human. They dove through the last archway just as the entire temple groaned and slammed shut behind them. Silence. Only the rain outside now. They lay in the mud at the jungle's edge, chests heaving. Finally, Anikar rolled onto his back, coughing. You're welcome, he said, spitting blood. I rescue you, and that's how you say thank you. She stared at him. Then stood. You didn't rescue me, she said. You doomed us both. Chapter 3, The Curse Has a Name. The rain still hadn't stopped. It fell in warm sheets over the jungle, soaking through leaves, robes, and skin. Anikar sat on a moss-covered rock, wringing out his shirt with little success while keeping one eye on the woman pacing in the mud a few feet away. She hadn't spoken in nearly 10 minutes. Which was fine. He needed the silence. What he didn't need was the constant feeling that she might stab him at any second. So, he said finally, are you gonna tell me who you are, or should I keep calling you Ritual Chamber Girl in my head? She didn't stop pacing. My name is Soriya, she said. Guardian of the Rain Stone. Last of the line sworn to protect the seal. And now. She turned toward him. Because of you, none of that matters. Okay, that's a little dramatic, Anikar muttered. I didn't know it would wake up some ancient death trap. You touched the rain stone. I'm a treasure hunter. That's literally what I do. That wasn't treasure. It was a prison key. The rain hissed around them like it was listening. Soriya crouched near the ground and began drawing in the mud with her finger, symbols in a spiral. The curse was sealed long ago. Bound by blood and memory. One drop of intention, one greedy hand, and it begins again. Anikar stepped closer. You keep saying curse. What kind of curse are we talking about here? Ancient ghost army? Vengeful god? Creepy whispering children? Worse, she said flatly. The curse makes people forget. Forget what? She looked up at him. Everything. The rain stone's power isn't destruction. It's erasure. It spreads like a sickness. Quiet at first, names, faces, memories of small things. But then it grows. She stood and gestured to the jungle. Villages disappear from maps. Families forget each other. Lovers wake up beside strangers. You lose who you are. Then history loses you. Anikar frowned. That sounds impossible. And yet, here I am. The only one who remembered the last time it happened. He looked at her again. Really looked. She couldn't be older than him, mid-20s at most. But there was something behind her eyes. A weight. A sorrow no living girl should carry. "How long were you in that temple?" he asked. Soriya didn't answer. Instead, she turned and started walking. "Come on. We can't stay this close to the temple. Not with the seal broken." "Wait. Where are we going?" "To stop what you started." By the time they reached higher ground, Anikar noticed it. The jungle was quiet. Too quiet. No insects. No birdsong. No movement. Just rain. "Something's wrong," he said. "It's following us," Soriya replied. "What is?" "The thing that woke with the stone." She stopped. Drew a dagger from beneath her robe. Carved into the blade was a familiar spiral, this one closed, unlike the ones on the temple walls. "This was given to me by the monks who sealed the first curse," she said. "It hums when the forgotten draw near." The forgotten? She didn't have to answer. From the trees, figures emerged, barefoot, pale, silent. Human in shape, but empty-eyed. Dripping wet though no rain touched them. One stepped forward. Its face, blurred. Undefined. Like memory refused to give it features. "They're what's left of those consumed by the curse," Soriya whispered. "They don't know who they were, but they remember they lost something." Anikar stepped back. "Do they talk?" "No. They hunt." Chapter 4, The First Fight. The first of the forgotten stepped into the clearing. Its eyes were blank white. Not glowing, just empty, like the light behind them had been scraped away. Its face shifted faintly, as though trying to take shape and failing. A ghost of features hovered in the space between flesh and fog. It didn't speak. It didn't blink. It just moved. Anikar drew his machete, pure instinct, but it felt suddenly small in his hand. The figure was close now. Not rushing. Just closing in, step by step. Then another followed. Then a third. Each one as hollow as the last. "Okay," Anikar said, backing up, "how do we kill them?" "You don't kill them," Soriya replied, not looking at him. "You remind them." "That's not comforting." She crouched low and drew a symbol in the mud with her dagger. The blade hummed, just like she said it would, resonating with a faint red pulse. "Cover me," she said. "If they reach me before the seal is finished, we both become shadows." "Love the teamwork," Anikar muttered. One of the forgotten lunged. Anikar dodged and slashed low, carving into its leg. It stumbled, but didn't bleed. Instead, mist spilled from the wound like ink underwater. "They're not alive," he called. "They're memories." "Twisted ones," Soriya answered. The second one came in fast, claws raking across Anikar's arm. He grunted, stumbled, and drove his machete up into its chest. It shrieked, not in pain, but like something trying to remember a scream. The sound made his ears ring. Behind him, Soriya's dagger glowed brighter. The spiral she was carving pulsed with each beat of her heart. "You almost done?" "Don't rush magic," she snapped. "I'm getting eaten by amnesia." 3 more emerged from the trees. Anikar's vision blurred. Blood trickled down his shoulder. He was surrounded. One lunged. He ducked. The second tried to grab his face, he slammed the machete into its neck. Useless. It reformed. Then the third reached him. Its hand touched his temple. Everything froze. Suddenly, he was standing in a house he didn't recognize. A woman's laugh echoed behind him. Someone called his name, not Soriya. He turned. Only to feel the cold pull of the forgotten dragging him back. Anikar! Soriya shouted. She slammed her dagger into the center of the spiral. The red light exploded outward, knocking the forgotten backward. They screeched, twisting in on themselves like paper burning in reverse. And then they were gone. Not dead. Just, forgotten again. Anikar collapsed onto the wet grass, breathing hard. Soriya knelt beside him, inspecting the slash on his arm. You fought well, she said softly. High praise from a jungle ghost, he muttered, wincing. What the hell were those things? Echoes, she said. Of people consumed by the curse. They lose their names, then their faces, then their minds. And once they forget who they are, they try to take your memories to replace their own. That's insane. That's magic. She bound his arm with part of her sash, tying it quickly but gently. Their eyes met. For a second, neither of them spoke. You've done this before, he said. Too many times. And the others who fought with you? A pause. They forgot me. Chapter 5, The Girl in the Mirror Water. The rain slowed to a soft drizzle by the time they reached the edge of the ruins. Anikar spotted a shallow pool nestled in a clearing where jungle met stone. Rain collected in the hollowed surface of an ancient statue, forming a perfect, still mirror. Vines hung low over its surface. Lotus blossoms drifted like memories trying to stay afloat. Soriya knelt beside it. She said nothing. Just stared. Anikar stayed a few paces behind. Quiet. She dipped her fingers into the mirror pool and touched the water to her forehead, then to her lips. Her movements were careful. Reverent. Like something she'd done 1,000 times before. It's a memory well, she said softly. Carved to hold pieces of forgotten lives. We used to believe if you looked into it, and it looked back, it meant your soul had been here before. Sounds peaceful, Anikar said. It was. Until they poisoned it. The curse? She nodded. It didn't just erase people. It erased places where we remembered. Sacred spots like this turned dangerous. You couldn't look in too long. The water would show you someone else's life, and if you weren't strong enough, you'd start believing it was your own. She paused. That's how we lost the northern monks. One by one, they drowned in visions that weren't theirs. She looked into the water again. And gasped. Her reflection changed. For just a second. Her hair longer. Different robes. A scar over her heart. Her lips moved, saying Anikar's name, but she hadn't spoken. Then it was gone. Just her face again. Just now. Did you see that? She whispered. Anikar stepped forward and looked into the pool beside her. His own reflection shimmered. And for one breathless moment, he saw her in his arms. Wearing different clothes. Crying. He was older. Wounded. Holding her like she was about to slip away. Then. Gone. They both pulled back at the same time. Wet hair clung to their foreheads. Their eyes locked. That wasn't a dream, Anikar said. No. That was you. And you were. She didn't finish. Because they both already knew. We knew each other, he said. In another life. And something went wrong. Soriya touched her chest, where the scar had appeared in the water. I think I died in your arms. He looked at her then, not like a stranger. But like someone he missed before he ever met her. You're not what I expected, he said. What did you expect? A half-mummified priestess trying to eat my soul. Disappointed? A little. She smiled. A real one. Not bitter. Not guarded. Just tired. And beautiful. It only lasted a second. Then the vines above them shivered. A shadow passed overhead. Anikar grabbed her hand. Soriya didn't resist. They ducked behind a crumbling pillar just as a low hum passed over the clearing. Not the forgotten this time. Something else. Hunters. We need to move, she said. We're being tracked. We're being remembered. That's worse. He didn't ask what she meant. He just took her hand again, and ran. Chapter 6, Fires in the Trees. Night in the jungle was not silent. It breathed. Cicadas shrieked like broken strings. Leaves whispered even when no wind passed through. And somewhere in the distance, drums echoed, slow, deep, and far too organized for the usual chaos of the wild. Anikar and Soriya crouched low on a cliffside ledge, watching orange firelight flicker between the treetops. That's no village, Soriya murmured. No, Anikar agreed. Imperial scouts. Fast ones. He pulled a worn spyglass from his pack and focused it through the gaps in the brush. Through the lens, he saw men in black gold armor setting up camp. Silent. Disciplined. Banners bearing the White Lotus sigil flapped in the firelight. His stomach turned. White Lotus means they're not here to ask questions, he muttered. Then we need to move. But he didn't. Because just then, someone stepped into view. A woman. She wore leather armor that shimmered like snake scales, twin blades strapped to her back. Her posture was easy, confident, but her eyes scanned the jungle like she already knew exactly where her prey was. And her face. Familiar. Too familiar. Chanra, Anikar breathed. Soriya glanced at him. Someone you know? Someone I shouldn't. He pulled back from the lens. She used to run jobs with me. Traps, ruins, smuggling scrolls. Then one day, she sold me out to the palace guards for a bounty I didn't even know I had. Sounds like love. It was, he said. Until it wasn't. Chanra stood at the edge of the firelight, staring into the jungle. He's here, she said, almost to herself. The scout next to her frowned. We found no trace. That's because you don't know how he thinks. He's watching us right now. Then let's smoke him out. No, she said. Let him run. He always runs. I want him to lead us to it. To the artifact. To the girl. Anikar packed his spyglass. We move east. Now. She's better at this than anyone they've got. Soriya looked at him a little differently now. You loved her. I did. Do you still? He didn't answer right away. No. But she's the kind of person who makes you believe you do, right up until the dagger's in your back. Soriya gave a small nod. That makes two of us. They slipped into the shadows. Behind them, the campfires of the White Lotus glowed brighter. But not because of fuel. Because someone, or something, had lit more fires further up the ridge. False trails. Traps. Chanra had set them. And she smiled into the dark. Run, Anikar, she whispered. Let's see if your new ghost girl is as sharp as I was. Chapter 7, Run until the road remembers you. They ran beneath the trees like hunted animals. Mud clung to Anikar's boots, and every breath burned like he was swallowing steam. But he didn't stop. Not when Soriya was just ahead of him, barefoot, silent, moving like a shadow across roots and vines. Not when firelight flared behind them, torches from the White Lotus trackers. And not when the jungle itself seemed to be changing. Paths that hadn't existed minutes before now yawned open in the underbrush. Shrines emerged from vines. Carvings they hadn't seen before glowed faintly with a red shimmer. These places, Soriya said between breaths, they weren't supposed to reveal themselves yet. Yet? Anikar gasped. The rain stone is bleeding power. The curse is waking the land. Great. So the jungle's trying to kill us now. No, she said, eyes darting across a spiraled stone gate as they passed. The jungle's trying to remember us. The wind changed. Suddenly it carried more than just rain. It carried voices. Soft. Mournful. Like echoes of lives not lived. Anikar. He froze mid-stride. That voice. He turned. Nothing there. Did you hear that? He whispered. Keep moving, Soriya snapped. It's not real. But the voice came again. Closer now. You let me die. He turned again, and this time he saw it. A face just behind the trees. Fading in and out of the mist. Not a forgotten this time, but something worse. A person he once knew. From another life. He didn't remember the name. But his heart lurched like it did. He stumbled. Soriya caught his arm before he collapsed. Don't listen to them, she said. The curse feeds on guilt. On what you've forgotten but still feel. I saw someone. You saw a shadow of who you used to be. Or who you left behind. Why me? Because the rain stone likes you. And it always burns brightest for the one who broke it last. Anikar looked at her. You think I've done this before? I don't think, she said quietly. I know. They broke through the jungle onto a ridge, but the path was lined with red cords and old bells strung from tree to tree. Soriya stopped. Imperial blood trail, she said. Traps ahead. That's Chandra's style, Anikar said grimly. She always liked to leave presents. He pointed to the ropes. That bell rings. 3 arrows from 3 directions. Doesn't matter who you are. Can we disarm it? No. We go under. They crawled low beneath the traps, chests scraping earth. Breath shallow. Mud clinging to their skin like a second, suffocating layer. Halfway through, Soriya whispered. Do you believe in fate? I used to. And now? Now I believe in choices. Bad ones. Usually mine. You made one when you touched the rain stone. You made one when you didn't kill me after. She smiled. That was instinct. I might regret it. I wouldn't blame you. Their eyes met beneath the hanging bells. In that single, quiet moment, between trap and shadow, something shifted. It wasn't love. Not yet. But it was recognition. They emerged from the trapline into a clearing just as the torchlights flared behind them again. Too fast. They'd been herded here. Anikar cursed. We're boxed in. Soriya reached into her satchel and pulled out a flare crystal, one of the last still intact. Then we light the sky. She smashed it against the stone. A beam of red light shot into the clouds, and with it, a howl from something in the distance that wasn't human. Chapter 8, Chandra's Offer. The jungle exploded in red. Soriya's flare crystal burst into the sky like bloodlight, slicing through rain and darkness in a sharp vertical beam. It arced across the clouds, and was seen for miles. You just lit a beacon, Anikar muttered. I lit a trap, Soriya replied. Let's hope she takes the bait. Oh, she will. He didn't sound hopeful. He sounded like a man who knew exactly what was about to walk out of the trees. A moment passed. Then another. And then, movement. Leaves rustled to their right. Rain shifted. A flick of steel. A silhouette. Chandra. She stepped from the foliage like a dancer entering a stage, graceful, dangerous, and too aware of her effect. Her armor gleamed despite the rain, and her dark hair was braided with silver charms, each one a symbol from a different ruin she'd conquered. 2 soldiers flanked her, bowmen, calm and alert. She raised a hand. They stopped. Then she looked straight at Anikar. And smiled. "Hello, thief." Anikar didn't speak. Didn't move. Just stared. Chanra walked closer, boots crunching softly over wet leaves. She stopped a few paces away, hands resting on her hips. Still breathing. Still stubborn. Still dragging girls into cursed temples. She looked at Soriya and tilted her head. "You always did have a type." Soriya's eyes narrowed. "She's with the Empire," Anikar said. "She'll smile at you while she sets fire to your name." Chanra sked. "Come now. Don't make me the villain. I warned you not to take that map. You didn't listen. And now here we are." Chanra stepped closer, too close. She reached into her belt and pulled out a scroll, sealed in black wax. "This is a pardon. Official. Signed by the regent himself." "A pardon?" Anikar asked. "For me." "For you," she said. "You come with me. You hand over the girl. You return the rain stone. And we forget this ever happened. You're serious. Deadly." She smiled again. "You'll live, Ani. Maybe even comfortably. You're too clever to die in the dirt. You just have to walk away." "And her?" "She's part of the artifact," Chanra said, eyes still on Soriya. "She goes back to the vault. No torture. No pain. She just fades. Like everyone else." Soriya asked coldly. Chanra didn't answer. "You really would have made a good empress," Anikar said, voice low. "Don't flatter me. You sold me out once. Now you want me to sell her. I'm giving you a way out. A chance to survive. Something I never got." That stopped him. For a second, he saw it. Beneath the armor. Beneath the blade. She wasn't just playing palace games. She was afraid. Not of dying. Of being forgotten. "They're going to burn it all, aren't they?" he asked. "The scrolls. The stories. The names." "They already started," she whispered. Soriya stepped forward. "You don't have to follow them." Chanra turned toward her. "And what? Run into the jungle with a half-dead relic and a cursed lover from a forgotten past?" "You remember me," Soriya said softly. "Not just now. Before." Chanra's hand tightened on the scroll. "I don't." "You do. Somewhere under all that armor, you know my name. From before." "I said I don't." "Then why are your eyes full of tears?" Anikar looked at Chanra. "You were the best part of my life once. And the worst thing that ever happened to me. I'm not making that mistake again." Chanra's face went still. Cold. She nodded. Then raised her hand. "Kill them both." The archers moved. Soriya whispered a word. One the wind remembered. The sigils across her arm flared red, and the jungle obeyed. Roots tore from the earth. Vines lashed outward. The clearing erupted into motion. Anikar grabbed Soriya's wrist and pulled her into the trees as arrows flew past them, slicing air where their heads had been seconds before. Chanra didn't shout. She just watched them vanish into the shadows. "You'll regret that," she said to herself. "You always do." Chapter 9, The Blood City Below. By the time they reached the lower cliffs of the southern ridge, the jungle had changed. It no longer felt wild. It felt like it was watching them. Soriya said nothing as they descended the cracked stone steps hidden behind a fallen shrine, but Anikar could feel the tension in her body with every careful movement. Her grip on his wrist was firm, unshaking. At the base of the ravine, they found what they were looking for. A pair of rusted torches flickered on either side of a jagged stone arch. There was no name etched above it, just a spiral cut into the rock and long dried smears of blood across the threshold. "Welcome to the Blood City," Anikar muttered. "Sounds lovely," Soriya replied. They stepped inside. The Blood City wasn't a city in the traditional sense. It was an underground trade sanctuary, carved into the forgotten veins of the empire, a place where exiled monks, cursed artisans, poison makers, ghost seers, and outlaws went to vanish. The tunnel narrowed, then opened into a wide cavern lit by red crystal lanterns and glowing moss. The air was thick with incense, sweat, and the sharp bite of fermented fruit. Wooden bridges spanned cracked stone over deep crevices. Market stalls glimmered with forbidden relics and caged memories trapped in bottles. Every person here had something to forget, or something they'd killed to remember. Soriya's eyes swept the space. "This place feels wrong." "That's because it exists outside the Empire's story," Anikar said. "Nothing here is official. No one here is legal. But it's the only place we'll find what we need." "And what exactly is that?" He looked at her. "A seer." She was seated in the back of the market. Old. Small. Wrapped in gray veils and crimson beads. No eyes. Just sockets inked with spiral tattoos. She sat behind a curtain of bones that rattled without wind. Anikar stepped forward and bowed slightly. "Mother Yen," he said. "Boy with two names," she rasped. "I remember both." Soriya narrowed her eyes. "She's blind." "She's never needed eyes," Anikar whispered. Mother Yen reached out and touched Soriya's wrist. The moment her fingers made contact, Soriya froze. Then her mouth opened slightly. A single word slipped out. "Rain." She hadn't meant to say it. She hadn't even realized she was speaking. "You both carry spirals beneath the skin," Yen whispered. "Not symbols. Stories. Half-written. Rewritten. Buried and clawing back." "How long ago?" Soriya asked. "How many lives?" "Too many. You were lovers. Then enemies. Then strangers. Then you burned together beneath the throne of the old empire." She turned to Anikar. "You killed her once." Soriya flinched. "No," Anikar said. "Yes. You didn't mean to. But you made the choice." The silence burned. "I don't remember," he said. "That's how the curse wins," Yen said softly. "It makes you forget what matters. It makes you believe you're still making first choices." Mother Yen unrolled a small scroll and placed it between them. On it were lines of inked spirals that shimmered as they moved. Soriya stared at it. "This is the Rain script," she whispered. "Older than any court tongue," Yen said. "Written by those who lived in memory, not in time. Can it be undone?" Anikar asked. "The curse?" Yen reached into a box beneath her stool and pulled out a shard of obsidian shaped like a crescent moon. "You can end it. But not with words. Only with a choice." "What choice?" "One of you must forget the other, forever." She looked up, as if something far above had called her name. "The White Lotus is here. They know you've come. The girl who bleeds memory carries too strong a scent. You must leave before the market forgets how to hide." Soriya stared at the shard. "You've seen our end before, haven't you?" Mother Yen nodded. "Many times. And each time, You choose each other, she whispered. And the empire burns. Chapter 10, The Assassin's Oath. The Blood City never echoed. Its walls swallowed sound like a secret. But that night, a whisper reached every ear. He's here. The market dimmed. Traders packed their wares in silence. Doors closed without being touched. Stalls vanished behind curtains of shadow. Even the bones in the oracle's curtain stopped rattling. Because the Empire's ghost had arrived. He didn't wear armor. He didn't need it. A simple black cloak over silent boots. 2 curved blades sheathed across his back. His face was pale and unreadable, and a spiral tattoo inked in silver curled from the edge of his eye to the line of his jaw. His name was Vakir, though most never lived long enough to hear it. He didn't chase. He found. He moved through the Blood City like a breeze no one dared stop. And when he passed, memories slipped away like smoke from candles. The butcher forgot his wife's voice. A child forgot her own name. Vakir walked the road of the unremembered. Soriya and Anikar had just stepped into a collapsed tunnel that led to the old aqueducts when Anikar stopped cold. Someone's behind us, he whispered. I don't hear, Soriya paused. Exactly, he muttered. No footsteps. No breathing. No birds. Even the dripping of water had gone still. Run. Run. They ran. At the old cistern, a stone chamber lit only by flickering moss, they stopped. And Vakir was already there. Waiting. Not crouched or ready to strike. Just watching. Hand her over, he said, his voice low and strange. You can walk away. Anikar drew his machete. Not happening. Vakir's head tilted slightly. Then his eyes fell on Soriya. He frowned. Just slightly. I know you, he said. Soriya froze. We've never met. No. But your face. I've seen it. In dreams that didn't belong to me. He stepped closer. I remember killing someone with your eyes. Anikar lunged. Fast. But Vakir moved faster. He sidestepped the blow, caught Anikar's wrist, and slammed him into the wall with terrifying precision. Anikar collapsed, coughing. Vakir turned to Soriya. I was sent to erase you. But I don't want to. Why not? She asked. Because something inside me remembers what it cost last time. He raised a blade. Soriya didn't flinch. You've already killed me once, she said. Do it again. See what it changes. The blade hovered. Then lowered. Next time, he said softly, I might not hesitate. And then, he was gone. Anikar sat up, holding his ribs. I hate that guy. Soriya knelt beside him, checking the bruise. He hesitated. Why? Because the curse doesn't just erase, she said. Sometimes, it returns things. When the spiral wants you to remember, it uses whatever pieces it has left. So that assassin might be someone who once loved me. They sat in silence for a moment. Dripping water. Shallow breaths. Red moss glowing on the walls. Then Soriya said. He'll be back. And next time, he won't pull the blade. Anikar nodded. Then next time, we don't run. Chapter 11, When the Stone Cracks. They made camp beneath the twisted roots of a banyan tree whose trunk had grown into the mouth of a collapsed shrine. It wasn't safe. Nowhere was. But the stone above kept the rain off their skin, and the roots swallowed their firelight. Anikar unstrapped the satchel from his shoulder and laid it carefully in front of him. Inside, the rain stone pulsed. Once smooth, it had begun to crack. Veins of glowing red branched outward from its center like dried blood in glass. "It's getting worse," he said, voice low. "It's reacting to the choices we've made," Soriya replied. "That's cryptic. It's not meant to be understood. It's meant to rewrite." She reached toward it, but hesitated before her fingers touched the surface. "You've held it longer," she said. "It should be affecting you more than me." "Oh, it is," he muttered. He didn't mention the dreams. The night before, he'd seen fire. A palace collapsing. Soriya, standing at the center of a ritual circle, screaming his name. And him. Not helping. Walking away. He woke with the taste of ash on his tongue and guilt in his lungs. Now, he stared at the rain stone again. Its pulse slowed. Then shuddered. A piece of it broke off, fell to the ground with a soft clink. From the stone's core, a thin trail of light poured out and spilled into the dirt. It coiled. Like ink in water. It began to take shape. Soriya gasped. She knew this shape. It was a throne room. Carved in light and shadow. The faces were blurry, but the voices were too familiar to forget. "You will protect the seal," said a voice like thunder. "You will not fall in love with the vessel." Another voice. Her own. "I won't." Laughter. A lie already spoken. Anikar saw himself again, not as he was, but as a man in imperial robes. Standing behind the throne. Hand clenched around a blade he didn't want to use. And Soriya, kneeling before him, her hands bound in gold wire. A priestess. A prisoner. And his lover. The light vanished. Soriya stumbled back, one hand on her chest. "That wasn't a memory," she whispered. "It was a confession." Anikar sat still. Too still. He reached up and pulled back his sleeve. Across his forearm, the spiral tattoo had spread. "It's writing itself on me," he muttered. "That means it's chosen you." "For what?" "To finish the story." A low rumble passed beneath them. Not thunder. Not storm. Something older. The shrine wall beside them cracked. From the roots, a whisper echoed. "He failed once. He will fail again." Soriya stood and drew her blade. "We need to move. The spiral's opening the next gate." "What gate?" She pointed toward the trees. Through the branches, a mountain shimmered, its side marked with dozens of carved faces. Stone guardians. Their eyes glowed faint red. "The temple of the first spiral," she said. "You sure we want to go there?" "No," she replied. "But it remembers us."
Every story has an ending. But some mysteries live on. If you enjoyed this tale, don't let it fade into the shadows. Smash that like button and subscribe for more thrilling stories that will transport you beyond the veil of the ordinary. Subscribe to our channel and your name will appear at the beginning of our next video, where we will pleasantly thank you for your subscribing. Tap the bell icon so you never miss a journey into the unknown. Share your thoughts in the comments. What twists did you see coming? And what secrets do you think still remain? Until next time, stay curious, stay brave, and let the next story begin.